It's no secret that the world feels a certain way about the former Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. You either love this woman or you hate her. Well, that debate may be continuing for the foreseeable future. It was recently announced that Meghan may be in line to replace Dianne Feinstein as Senator of California. Over the years, Meghan has never hidden her left-leaning political beliefs and that she is confident that women can change the world. So when you think about her name being added to the list of Hollywood politicians, it's not that far-fetched. A major Democratic donor who is close to California Governor Gavin Newsom is tasked with deciding who will replace the late great Feinstein. He told several outlets that Meghan was definitely a long shot, but in the craziness that is US politics these days, it's not impossible. Crazier things have happened, like the Terminator being a guy who used to have Gavin's job. Feinstein passing away has created a unique situation where the governor is the overseer. He is the man in charge of picking the replacement. In fact, Gavin is considered a presidential frontrunner for the next election. So how does Meghan play into all of this? Well, at the time of Feinstein's passing, Meghan had been networking among senior Democrats with a view to build a grassroots campaign to fuel her political ambitions, with the US presidency being Meghan's ultimate goal. This was confirmed by a senior Labour Party member who wished to remain anonymous to news outlets. That's right, Meghan's goal is to be the President of the United States. Now, I try to remind myself that the host of Celebrity Apprentice was also the president for a while, and again, the Terminator was once the governor of California, but the idea of Meghan Markle being the president is just kinda out of nowhere. The source who revealed the information also shared that Harry and Meghan had partaken in an hour-long virtual meeting with Governor Newsom, but that he ultimately chose a different candidate. Her political campaign started and ended right there. Just boop! Nothing. The source claimed that Governor Newsom had vowed to replace Feinstein with someone who had experience and that had held a high-level position in a similar field. The issue with that is that all of his possible candidates right now have already announced that they're running against him in the next election. This isn't the first time Meghan has tried to get into politics. She's obviously, married to Prince Harry, who was a member of the royal family. Is he still? I don't really know that situation well, but it turns out that she has been trying to campaign herself for a government position since the moment she left the royals for good. Ever since she landed in the United States, it's been her sole ambition to be a political figure outside of the royal family, and she's been taking notes from Donald Trump. In the past few years, Meghan has attempted to morph her two passions into one, which are politics and media content. Not only is there a documentary surrounding herself and Harry, but she has taken every opportunity that she can to exploit family secrets and take her 15 minutes of fame as far as she can. In 2021, herself and Harry sat down with Oprah Winfrey to air out every single piece of dirty laundry that's ever been left in the hamper. Of course, the royal family does not appreciate their secrets being shared with the world, so not only were they blacklisted by them from ever returning to the palace, but the interview kind of soiled their reputations as good people. Same with their documentary. A lot of people who saw it agreed that the footage painted the Duke and Duchess in a very terrible light, but of course that's not the only media-based venture that these two have attempted to get off the ground. Only a few months after announcing their exit from the royals, Meghan announced that herself and Harry had signed a multi-year deal with Spotify to produce a podcast. They claimed that the show was designed to help build a community through shared experience, narratives, and value. Their announcement did not include how much the couple were actually going to be paid for the contract, which ended up being, a little modest $20 million, just your average paycheck. However, from the moment that this thing got off the ground, Spotify had grown reportedly frustrated with the couple's content and lack of productivity. According to executives at Spotify, the couple were taking way too long to actually build a team to produce their episodes. There wasn't even a real structure to how the thing was going to be recorded, 6 months later, they produced one 33-minute holiday special, 6 months for 33 minutes of chit-chat, and many people started to question what was actually going on with these people behind the scenes. In fact, the 33 minutes included guests like Elton John, Deepak Chopra, Stacey Abrams, and a ton of other people, so why not just sit down with each and every one of those people for 1 hour and do that? I would listen to that. Nothing came after this episode for almost an entire year, but eventually they hired an audio lead and things started getting smooth. Several people denied her request to join the podcast, however. I will mention Taylor Swift in a moment, but despite releasing regular episodes, the team posted on social media claiming that all the credit credit should go to the underpaid and undervalued producers. Spotify eventually decided to cancel her show for a few reasons, mainly that they spent, like a year not doing anything. Despite the success that the show eventually received, however, Meghan was canned for good. Now, despite the public shame being brought upon her, this woman actually has a long history of being rude and unpresidential all the time. According to former employees that were unfortunate enough to, work for Meghan while still living with the royal family, Meghan had a bit of a temper, especially when it comes to, the people who were there to make her life easy. According to one caterer, Meghan and himself got into a heated debate about her vegan food that was being delivered to her wedding. Meghan was in the middle of tasting a couple of dishes for the big day when she suddenly started to get just super angry. And according to royal expert Katie Nicole, she was told by a source that Meghan tasted an egg in her dish. That led to a very tense moment. According to that source, the Queen actually had to calm Meghan down and told her that they did not speak to people that way in this family. The moment was recounted in the book The New Royals, and several other former employees have shared their time with Meghan, and it's just as bad. An industry videographer who worked closely with Meghan Markle before she met the prince revealed that she was already called princess in her Hollywood days for her difficult and demanding behavior on set. According to the cameraman, Meghan was known to bring large entourages on set and laid down a strict set of rules for everyone involved with the production. The biggest and weirdest one was super specific, was just do not shoot her feet. Big no-no for Meghan for some reason. Her feet became a hot topic of conversation after she took off her shoes during a royal tour in New Zealand in 2018, revealing what a lot of people thought was a scar from a bunion removal operation, but I'm not sure why anyone actually focused on that. It became apparent to the cameraman and the rest of the crew that she despised her own feet. Do not look, do not touch, we're not getting into what you can't do to the feet. Another man, a photographer, backed this story up by recounting a photo shoot that took place in 2015. Meghan was reportedly in tent and turned up with an entourage, 12 people strong. The photographer, who wished to remain anonymous, said that they were warned about Meghan's behavior. Apparently she showed up in disguise all the time, and from the moment that she would enter the set, her attitude and demeanor was just straight up rude. And who could forget when the Duchess of Sussex was greeting mourners stationed outside of Windsor Castle on September 10th with her husband Prince Harry and the Prince and Princess of Wales, when an incident unfolded. In footage that was wildly shared on Twitter, aka X now, Meghan could be seen holding a bunch of pink roses and talking to a crowd when an aide speaks from behind her. The Duchess can be seen whirling around quickly with what a lot of people claim to be just a really annoyed face. Meghan spoke to the aide for a moment, pointing and waggling about, and then she snaps back, smiles, and nods like nothing happened. While of course there was never any word on what exactly was said in this exchange or why she said it in such a snappy way, according to one freelance journalist who claimed to be there, they shed light on the conversation that took place. Apparently Meghan just didn't want to hand over flowers to anybody, and that was it. That was as simple as that. Her attitude and overall persona has led to several A-list stars leaving her off of the guest list and publicly bashing the Duchess despite being their friends for a long time. For instance, Sir Elton John is one of the biggest names in pop rock history, so it's no surprise that he likes to throw a party or two with a lot of his A-list buddies. But this year he decided to throw an Oscars after party at his home where the prince and princess would normally be in attendance, or at least, stop by to say hello. But in fact, up until this past year, the two were quite close, reportedly spending a lot of free time together. Apparently something changed when they left the family. Things started things started to get sour, and a little bit of a rift began to split between them. This year, it hasn't been confirmed why Harry and Meghan were not at the party, but a lot of people believe they snubbed Elton John and denied his invite to his face. But according to a lot of celebrities who were there that night, everyone deemed them nobodies for missing the event, with a lot of people claiming that it was actually Elton who told them not to come. So Meghan was left confused while Elton was just living it up with everybody. Like him and Lady Gaga, that's cool, they're in the same room. And of course Taylor Swift, who reportedly declined to be a guest on Meghan Markle's now cancelled podcast. Meghan wished to get Taylor involved in an interview with herself and Harry, and she even sent a handwritten invitation to her front door. According to her publicist, the invite was declined due to Taylor being smart and not wanting to be involved in that conversation or anything involved with political issues. When she is asked about the situation by fans or on her live tour, she claims that the whole thing is just blown out of proportions and that Harry and Meghan need to clear things up on their end. This was around the same time that the couple were facing issues with getting their documentary off the ground as well, so the cancellation cancellation of the podcast, the documentary, everybody was just very stressed out at the time. So if anyone is attending her Eras tour at the moment, just hold up some signs with Meghan's face on it and see what happens. Maybe Taylor has laser eyes we don't know about. Number 10. Sit better. The Duchess of Sussex accompanied her new hubby Harry to the Queen's Young Leaders Awards, which honors youngsters from across the Commonwealth. The event was streamed on the royal family's Facebook page, meaning that the entire world could see this event live. But one royal fan was shocked by something that she spotted, which was the way that Meghan was sitting. But not just sitting, she's sitting with her legs crossed. While this just seems like Meghan getting comfortable to, most people, the proper way to sit in the royal family is to sit with knees touching and the hands on the knees. Instead, she just crossed her legs, and someone online was very quick to point it out. Not only was this disrespectful in general, but she was photographed sitting next to the Queen, literally dissing the woman right to her face. Now, I'm not big into the royal family, but I've been told this is very rude in their eyes, so bad Meghan. Number 9. Rude to royal staff. According to former employees that were unfortunate enough to work for Meghan while still living with the royal family, Meghan had a bit of a temper, especially when it came to the people who make her life easier. According to one caterer, Meghan and himself got into a heated debate after her vegan food was being delivered to her wedding. Meghan was in the middle of tasting a couple of dishes for the big day when she suddenly became very upset. According to the royal expert Katie Nicole, she was told by a source that Meghan tasted an egg in the dish that led to a very tense exchange. According to the source, the Queen actually had to calm Meghan down and told her that they did not speak to people that way in this family. The moment was recounted in the book The New Royals. Many behind-the-scenes secrets were revealed, with many examples of Meghan's misdeeds being put on paper for the rest of eternity. Number 8. Videographer Diva. An industry videographer who worked closely with Meghan Markle before she met the prince revealed that she was already called princess in her Hollywood days for her difficult and demanding behavior on set. According to the cameraman, Meghan was known for bringing large entourages on set with her and laid down a strict set of rules for everyone involved with the production. The biggest was do not shoot her feet. Big no-no. Her feet became a hot topic of conversation after she took off her shoes during a royal tour in New Zealand in 2018, revealing what many thought was a scar from a bunion removal operation. It became apparent to the cameraman and the rest of the crew that she despised her own feet. Another man, a photographer, backed this story up by recounting a photo shoot that took place in 2015. Meghan was reportedly intense and turned up with an entourage of 12 people strong. The photographer, who wished to remain anonymous, said that they were warned about Meghan's behavior. Apparently, she showed up in disguise all of the time, and from the moment that she would enter the set, her attitude and demeanor was just plain rude. Number 7. Greeting mourners. The Duchess of Sussex, say that 10 times fast, was greeting mourners stationed outside of Windsor Castle on September 10th with her husband Prince Harry and the Prince and Princess of Wales when the incident unfolded. In footage that was wildly shared to Twitter, aka X, Meghan could be seen holding up a bunch of pink roses and talking to the crowd when an aide speaks to her from behind. The Duchess can be seen whirling around quickly with what many people claim to be an extremely annoyed face. Could just be how it sits, but she did look pretty angry. Meghan spoke to the aide for a moment, pointing and waggling about, when she snaps back, smiles, and nods. While of course there was never any word on what exactly was said or why it was said in such a snappy way, there might be a little bit of insight on that. According to one freelance journalist who claimed to be there, shed some light on the conversation that took place. Apparently Meghan just didn't want to hand her flowers over to the aide, simple as that, but she snapped in a very inappropriate setting, so maybe keep your composure next time. Number 6. Missing the king's coronation. When Charles was turned into a king earlier this year, many fans of the royal family were curious to see what the Duke and Duchess would do. Well, it turns out that while both Harry and Meghan were invited to the event, Meghan decided that she didn't like the king's reaction to her wishing to attend. After an interview that took place on Oprah in 2021, the royal family had been living on very thin ice. The king did not appreciate all of the dirty laundry being aired out for the world to see. Not to mention the fact that the couple were in the process of creating a Netflix documentary. While their PR team has claimed that the idea of Meghan actually snubbing the king is ludicrous, the proof was right there. Not only were there letters that proved that there was at least a conversation that took place, but Meghan not attending the event was a massive red flag. One of Meghan's biggest issues with the situation was that the invitation sent to them never included the children. Number 5. The Prince William altercation. So it turns out that these two are the original snubbers of this couple, being one of the several reasons that they decided to leave the royal family in the first place. According to their book, Meghan and Harry were deeply unhappy in their last year and discussed wanting something to change with the Queen and Prince Charles, who is now the king. This was before they took their infamous trip to Canada, where they officially started plotting their exit from Britain. According to the book, William was furious with his brother's decision, especially the way that he was handling things. So during the little time that they continued to live in Britain, William and Kate were basically ignoring them at every single moment on every single day. Meghan was doing the exact same thing, but I don't know, it's kind of justified. Snubbing them on every carpet in the house. The most notable snub that took place on camera, however, is when the four of them all met at the gates of Windsor Castle, where Meghan and Kate have the briefest exchange, but it's just filled with icy glares and just anger before they snap back into photo mode. We're not 100% sure what happened behind the scenes there, but Meghan really does not like these people. Number 4, Judge Judy. Now I know what you're thinking, what in the name of all that is good in this world does Judge Judy have to do with the royal family? Well, let me tell you. When Harry released the memoir Spare, Judge Judy took to the talk show Good Morning Britain to express her hatred for the piece, claiming that if she were in a similar situation as the Queen at the time, she'd also be very furious. She went on to say that the idea of writing a book that shares intimate details to the public that they do not need to know is ludicrous, and anyone with a brain would see it's disingenuous. Meghan was asked to weigh in on Judy's harsh words, but during a phone call with her PR team, she called Judge Judy a hack and told her to get a life. At least that's what the PR team said. I've never spoken to Meghan, so who knows? Number 3, documentary. Netflix finally released all 6 episodes of the Harry and Meghan documentary, which was a documentary showcasing their lives as royals and the secrets that they keep. The series sparked massive amounts of backlash and controversy though, the main gripe being that the information they are sharing with the audience is info that they either already knew or stuff that just was not that interesting. The internet flooded with hate for this couple, especially towards Meghan Markle. The documentary only made her look like more of a diva than she had already been reported to be. The documentary was just an excuse to get hers and Harry's faces on Netflix. She's already been in several projects, but it's not enough. Clips shown on the series showcase her rude behavior time and time again. While the documentary was meant to be a way to paint the ex-royals in a new light, it ended up making them look like massive jerks. Number 2, Spotify. Only a few months after announcing their exit from the royal family, Meghan Markle announced that herself and Harry had signed a multi-year deal with Spotify to make a podcast. They claimed the show was designed to help build a community through shared experiences, narratives, and values. Their announcement did not include how much the couple was going to get paid though, which ended up being a modest $20 million. It's just your average everyday paycheck, you know, I get 21 every 2 weeks here. However, from the moment this thing kicked off the ground, Spotify had grown reportedly frustrated with the couple's content and lack of productivity. According to the executives at Spotify, the couple were taking way too long to actually build up a team to make their episodes. There wasn't even a real structure to how things were going to be recorded. 6 months later, they produced one 33-minute holiday special. 6 months for 33 minutes, way to go. Many people started to question what was going on behind the scenes. In that 33 minutes, guests like Elton John, Deepak Chopra, Stacey Abrams, and a few others popped up to say hello, so why not just sit down with each and every one of those people for an hour straight? That's a podcast right there, so many people do it. Nothing came after this episode for almost an entire year, but eventually they hired an audio lead. Several people denied her requests to join the podcasts, like Taylor Swift, but the list is endless. Despite releasing regular episodes, the team posted on social media claiming all credit should go to the underpaid and undervalued producers. Apparently Meghan was very rude behind the scenes and extremely demanding. Shocker. Spotify eventually decided to cancel her show for a few reasons, but mainly it was because they spent a year of their deal doing absolutely nothing. Despite the success that the show eventually received, Meghan got canned for good, and some tells me that her attitude had a lot to do with it. And at number 1, Frogmore Cottage. The Duke and Duchess have lost their home base in the UK, Frogmore Cottage, which was the last home available to them. The cottage sits on 33 acres of land and was a regular vacation spot for the couple. But since having their home taken away, many rumors have circulated claiming that this might have been a result of some kind of behind-the-scenes feud. According to an insider close to Meghan, the couple were actually involved in a bit of a dramatic situation with the groundskeeper of the property. The specifics were never divulged, but the information recently says that it was enough for the property to be taken back and for their deed to just be shredded. Many see this as justice being served. Meghan was under the assumption that because she's royalty she can speak to anyone any way she wants. Well, hey, next time be nicer to the guy who holds the keys to your house.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have she's an American. You want to know what every country has in common except for the United States? Well, apparently for some odd reason everyone hates Americans. While it's definitely rude to dislike someone based on where they're from, it still hasn't stopped people from stereotyping the actress into a certain category. When it comes to the Brits though, they have a strong dislike for Meghan, especially for this reason. Unlike the reception of the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, who belongs to an aristocrat British family, Meghan Markle received a cold and hostile reception, not only from the public but also from the royal family. While Meghan was born in America and comes from an ordinary background, she supposedly failed to meet the conservative criterions of the Britons, and this could be one of the reasons why everyone hates her. Number 9. Twisted family history. While the British royal family tends to maintain a clean and pure image of the monarchy, mostly because they pay media outlets not to run with their stories, the press has painted them to be innocent little angels. However, we all know that's not the case, as there's a lot of darkness when it comes to the royal family history. But recently, they have been painted to look like heroes that have a close bond and relationship with their other family members. Meghan Markle, on the other hand, has more of a twisted history when it comes to her family, as her approach to having a relationship with them is very unconventional. Not only has the ex-actor broken old ties she had with her father, but her relationship with her sister is also distant and remote. That being said, her relationship with her family doesn't meet the conventional requirements of the public, as we all couldn't stand it when she used the media to embarrass her father, and in the process, the way she chose to air out her family's dirty laundry, even if they weren't getting along, it just wasn't the right thing to do. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't have to wonder what we might just cover next. Number 8. The dollar store version of Princess Diana. Since Meghan and Harry sat down for their tell-all interview with Oprah, many people have weighed in on the debate and have claimed that the Duchess has attempted to garner sympathy from viewers by pointing out that there has been a lot of similarities between her and Princess Diana. But the fact she's trying to claim that she went through exactly what Diana went through is completely wrong, because each of their stories are different, and the fact that she's trying to become Diana is just as creepy as the time she admitted she kept Diana's hair near her pregnancy test. Meghan was definitely smart with the interview, because she knew that there was no better way to get viewers to empathize with her than suggesting suffering similarities to an icon of a global dimension. But even after the interview, from time to time we see Meghan recreating Diana's looks, and every time it's made us realize that her obsession with wanting to be Diana is just a little too much. Number 7. Privileged but plays the victim. So despite Meghan being able to gain an insane amount of wealth, fame, and a high social status through her marriage to Prince Harry, Meghan Markle often still portrays herself in podcasts, documentaries, and interviews as somebody who has been treated unfairly not only by the public but also by the royal family. And with saying this, Meghan's actions can come off as incongruous to many, as a lot of people struggle throughout life without all of the resources that Meghan possesses. While it seems clear from her media output that Meghan wants to portray herself as a strong person who got to where she is through her own efforts for her fame, it was largely achieved through her marriage, and she comes across as being insecure and vindictive when she tries to garner sympathy from the public. 6. Controlling and bullying. Since the beginning, critics of Meghan Markle have consistently been accusing the Duchess of not only being controlling but also being manipulative, particularly towards her husband Harry. Whenever we've seen the two sit down for an interview, it's clear that she is the one that has a tendency to dominate the conversation, and she is constantly seeking to have the limelight all to herself. But not only that, but the staff who worked in the royal household and had to tend to Meghan have also complained about how they were bullied by Meghan, as according to a report that appeared in the Times, after emails that were written by a former Kensington Palace communication secretary named Jason Now has suggested that the Duchess has also displayed totally unacceptable behavior. In the end, Meghan would have her press team issue a statement about all the bullying allegations, and since she's been trying to play that all this was leaked in an attempt to smear her name, name, but I don't think any of us believe that. She's just downright mean. Number 5. Reason behind the royal split. Back in January of 2021, Meghan and Harry would jointly announce that they would be exiting from the royal family. In the process, they would also announce that they would be leaving their royal duties and privileges behind so they could be more financially independent. When the couple took to their Instagram accounts to say, "We intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to support Her Majesty the Queen," the British public began to blame the Duchess rather than looking at the reasons to what drew Meghan and Harry to make this decision and take it seriously. However, after they left the royal family, Harry and Meghan did nothing to support the Queen, and instead they started signing up for interviews, documentaries, shows, they even started writing books where they aired out all of the royal secrets and problems just so they could make money. And behind it all, it's clear Meghan was behind all of these business moves, as she was the one who talked majority of the time in the interviews while Harry sat there being quiet with blank facial expressions. Number 4. Hypocritical. The Duchess of Sussex has played an active role in promoting various causes which include environmental, social, political, and anti-bullying. However, it has led to backlash in certain quarters, with some people claiming that she doesn't practice what she preaches. Examples of her alleged hypocrisy include: A. She bullied palace staff members by making them cry and quit their jobs. B. Extorting about the environment while flying around the globe in private jets. C. Claiming that she's very ordinary while spending lavishly on clothing and housings and living extravagantly. D. Gaining fame and wealth from her association with the British royal family while constantly attacking them. Meghan Markle isn't any of the things she stands for, which is honestly just sad, and it proves that we just can't trust anything she says, as the path she's on to self-destruction, and she acts like she's never even heard of King Midas, but she probably should take note from that. Number 3. Establishment. It's clear that the royal family are very much on top of the British establishment, despite their reticence to respond directly to criticism in the public. They do have an enormous amount of power at their disposal. This doesn't just consist of their own wealth and status, but also includes the resources of the nation state that they are head of. With saying that, there has always been this notion that Meghan Markle was an outsider when she married into the royal family. And because of this, she herself has even stated that she has always felt like she was never truly welcome by anyone. However, a lot of people, especially people in the UK, have automatically taken the side of the royal establishment, and this translates into expressing antipathy towards Meghan, which has left her to feel like she is David and Goliath. But it hasn't exactly always been this way, as everyone used to actually love her, including the royal family, until the bullying allegations emerged, and then after that, everything took a sharp turn and we all went on the side of the royal family. But that's just how the establishment works, right? Number 2. Social status. For someone who pushes an egalitarian agenda, Meghan Markle can seem at times to be excessively concerned with the social status of herself and her family. She seems to desire the standing that goes with being royal without wanting all the baggage that comes along with it. While Meghan has claimed that she doesn't want to be royal or have her royal duties, during interviews she has expressed how upset she is that her family wouldn't be given security, and that she was furious that when she found out her children, Archie and Lilibet, wouldn't be given royal status because the Sussexes were not working royals. Meghan's always wanted to be famous. That has been her dream from the start, and when her modeling career didn't work out, she turned to Deal or No Deal, and when that didn't work out, she turned to acting, and when her acting career turned out to be a major flop despite her role in the hit Canadian show Suits, when she found out Harry was single, she jumped on it and manipulated him into loving her, and as soon as she entered into the royal family, she got noticed and she loved every part of it, but she knew she didn't want to be forgotten, so she started to stir the pot, and that's exactly what she did to get the level of fame she has today. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Against Royal Traditions. When it comes to her style, Meghan Markle has always had a habit when it comes to breaking royal traditions. With the Duchess loving dark nail polish, collarbone bearing necklines, and pantsuits, she has caused the media to go bananas every time she has gone against royal protocols, whether it's with her outfits or with her email schedule. Inside the palace though, the narrative is totally different. One thing that has come to light in recent years is that Meghan Markle does not shy away from listening to her heart, as she has gone on to marry into the British family to making a mega exit. And because this happened, she has been heavily criticized and condemned for breaking royal traditions. While there's definitely no book on royal etiquette, Meghan has chosen to do things a little differently, and in the process, she has caused a lot of people to look down on her and criticize her for everything she does. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have leaving the royal family. So we all know living in the spotlight is never an easy thing to do, And when we saw Meghan Markle and her husband Prince Harry in 2020 release a statement informing people of their decision to step away from their roles as senior members of the royal family, we knew that this was the start of some major drama. However, apparently the couple's statements came before they even consulted or informed anyone in the clan, and in the process they even blindsided Queen Elizabeth about their departure. BBC would then report that no other member of the royal family was consulted before Harry and Meghan issued their personal statements, and that the palace was extremely disappointed. While some people were supportive of the couple's decision to build their own lives outside of the royal family, others were highly critical. And they even started to blame Meghan for causing a rift between the prince and his family. In the end, Meghan knew what she was signing up for when she joined the royal family, and if she wasn't up for the task, then she should have never married Prince Harry in the first place. Number 9. Ruin Harry's relationship with his family. Meghan Markle's narcissistic and manipulating behavior has completely destroyed Prince Harry, as after he got with the ex-actress, he totally changed. It's clear that Meghan has manipulated Harry into hating his family, and she's even caused a giant rift to form between the two families. In her attempt to ditch the royal family, she has gone up to make lies, expose secrets, and start drama just so she could get everything she ever wanted. Even Meghan's podcast and interviews being released around the same time of the anniversary of Prince Diana's passing was a little off, and it proves that she has changed Harry's mindset, as he has no courage to go up against anything she says, and he will even lie about his family in the process so it doesn't upset her, to the point Harry has become resentful and aggressive. Before Meghan entered into his life, he had an amazing relationship with King Charles, as they were both very compatible, and then she came in, destroyed it. And family's a very important thing. It always was to Harry, and Meghan knew if she wanted him by her side forever, she had to cause a rift between the family, and that's exactly what she did. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Archie's controversy. For a while now, Meghan has been trying to claim that there has been several conversations from unnamed family members in the royal family that have talked about how it would be an issue if her unborn child at the time, Archie, was born with darker skin. With the claim starting back in 2021 when Harry and Meghan sat down for an interview with Oprah, Meghan would say that there was conversations about how dark his skin might be when he was born, and that their conversations were both relayed to her and Harry. However, the couple declined to reveal who was involved in these conversations because they said it would be very damaging to their appearance, and that they were also concerned at the fact when Archie was born that he wouldn't have the security or official titles. Since both have left the royal family, they have continued to claim that the family made biased opinions about Archie's skin color, and they never exactly provided proof or the names of the members of the royal family who have had these so-called conversations, so it goes on to show that their claims were a lie, and it was just used to tarnish the royal family's name. Number 7. Cheating on Harry. Back in November of 2022, it would be hinted that there may be a divorce coming for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, with the topic being the newest scandal to hit the English royal court. Soon the media would reveal that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry would be heading towards a divorce because Meghan had cheated on the prince. In Touch would then reveal that according to an inside source, Harry would be called from the school of Archie because his wife failed to pick him up at the time of pickup time. The Duke then had to put his daughter in the car and rush to retrieve his firstborn from the school. It would then be revealed that Meghan forgot to pick up her son because she was hooking up with her bodyguard. Apparently there was also a photo that was never released in which you could see Harry returning home with the 2 children and lashing out at Meghan, who ended up acting hysterical to brainwash Prince Harry by saying several times she wanted to divorce him immediately. Number 6. Being rude to palace staff. Back in January, it was clear that the bullying charges that were brought up against Meghan from the royal staff members weren't going anywhere. Inside sources would then tell Page 6 exclusively that the palace aides who quit were claiming that they were bullied by the Suits actor and that they were going to stick by their claims no matter what happened. The source would then say, "The people I spoke to are absolutely still sticking to their story, claiming that Meghan bullied them. I can't speak the truth of that, of course, because I wasn't in the same room and I haven't heard Meghan's side, but my sources still very much stick to their stories." The claims would first be brought up in 2021 after an article was posted by the Times of London that alleged the Duchess of Sussex occasionally reduced staff members to tears tears while she was living at Kensington Palace. The UK newspaper would then report that 2 senior members of palace staff were also bullied by Meghan to leave their jobs. I'm very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. The treatment of X was totally unacceptable. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She is bullying Y and seeking to undermine her confidence. We've had report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behavior towards her. Number 5. Making Kate cry. When Meghan dropped a handful of bombshell moments in her interview with Oprah back in 2021, she would refute a tabloid story that claimed she made Catherine, who is now the Princess of Wales, cry just days before her wedding to Prince Harry. And thanks to Harry's explosive memoir Spare, we finally know all the details that went down between the two ladies. Well, that's if Harry's story is actually true. With the Daily Mail initially reporting that Meghan had offended Kate during a phone call by saying Kate had a baby brain, Page 6 would then offer a different perspective of actually what went on when that rift started. And apparently it started after Kate texted Meghan about a problem with Princess Charlotte's Flower Girl dress. Harry would then reveal that the dresses were made by Givenchy's then creator-director Claire Waite Keller, and they were made solely on everybody's measurements, but because of this it was expected that everyone's dresses would need to have some tweaks done. Meghan then told Kate she could bring Charlotte to the palace where a tailor had been hired to do the alterations for all of the dresses, but this didn't sit well with Kate as she just wanted to talk to the Duchess, as Charlotte's dress was way too big, long, and baggy. And this is when it caused the royal to bust into tears when she tried it on. Kate then said all the dresses needed to be remade just 4 days ahead of the wedding, and even had to reach out to her own designer Alexander McQueen to clear her mind about saying so, and even this designer agreed with Kate's opinion. Number 4. Brainwashing Harry. There are definitely 2 sides of this entire comedy saga, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry against the royal family. With some people agreeing with both Meghan and Harry, many more are now beginning to think that everything was planned by Meghan so she could accomplish everything she ever wanted in life. If you haven't caught on to what exactly I'm getting at, let me clear things up for you. It's to be famous, seriously. Media outlets such as Sky News and BBC have already dived into this topic and have provided evidence that Meghan has been planning all of this mess the whole time. And now they're convinced that all of the evidence they found proves that Prince Harry has been brainwashed by his wife in efforts to dismantle the royal family completely. At first glance, I get it. It may just be a giant conspiracy theory you believe only a tinfoil hat person would believe. However, the fact that Meghan Markle is using manipulation to control Harry even has Princess Diana's former bodyguard claiming that the prince isn't exactly acting like himself, and you can tell that he's miserable just by the way he looks. At this point, Meghan just needs to let Harry go and admit she's using him to climb the ladder. Number 3. Ruining her kids' relationship with their relatives. With Meghan and Harry running away from their royal duties and picking up their lives in another country, they have forced their children to have a failed relationship with their relatives. With Meghan and Harry not living in the UK, it suggests that their kids will never be able to develop a close relationship with their grandfather, King Charles. And since they were evicted from the Frogmore cottage, they have not been offered alternative accommodations. And since they have chosen to battle with the royal family every chance they get, it suggests that they have become incredibly complicated. And if they do return to the UK, they'll be forced to stay in places that aren't secure, which could be dangerous for their well-being. With there being no news of a new counter-offer in place for the family to stay at, it suggests that the king will no longer have a tangible relationship with his 2 youngest grandchildren. And now their kids will be forced to grow up with no family, as Meghan has isolated not only from her family but Harry's family as well. Number 2. Claiming the royal family was nasty to her. In the beginning, the royal family loved and adored Meghan, but as time went on, they found her to be not quite so nice. It's also been said that both Kate and William were huge fans of the actor because of her work in the show Suits. But with Meghan claiming that she was finding it very hard for her to fit into the royal lifestyle and that everyone was in fact really rude to her, in the beginning, we all kind of felt bad for her. However, after time went on, we soon started to realize that everything she was saying really didn't have any truth to it. The royal family did nothing but try to help her fit in to their family and this new lifestyle, to the point Queen Elizabeth even had her advisor work with Meghan to help her learn royal traditions. And after that advisor quit, Queen Elizabeth did everything she could to help Meghan feel welcome, even if she didn't like her, because she didn't want to upset her grandson who was smitten with the actress. And coming in at number 1 today, for existing. Okay, this point is a little mean, but before you call me out on it, just let me explain. Like, there's a reason why Meghan Markle is one of the most hated celebrities on the planet right now, and that's because she's a hypocrite. And everything she stands for is a giant sham. She's constantly preaching about kindness, but when her father was ill, even after all the damage he caused, when he needed her the most to be by his side, she abandoned him and cut him out of her life entirely. She and her PR team then went on to bully her father and publicly humiliate him several times, despite claiming that she is anti-bullying. Not to mention, she's also a humanitarian, but also has not helped her own family members struggling in poverty, and abandoned most of her family members after she became famous. There's just something about her that drives us all nuts, and if she was to disappear, I mean, I think we can all agree she wouldn't be missed.